Walking. It's good for your health, and it can be very relaxing. But what if all Batman was allowed to do was walk? Well, he would certainly be saving a lot of money on gas, that's for sure. So today, I'm going to be trying to beat Batman Arkham Knight without being able to use the Batmobile, which will be an impressive feat since about 70% of that game is spent in the Batmobile.
It's over. We are screwed.
But since I'm addicted to failure and love taking on challenges that I know I can't beat, I'm gonna give it a try anyway. So let's go over the ground rules I followed during this run. The main rule, obviously, is to make sure that I am not driving or gliding to get around the city. I will be allowed to use my grappling hook to get up and down some of the higher buildings, since it's not like there's a bunch of elevators sitting around the place to get me up there.
Hook.
But outside of that, I have to walk everywhere I go. No exceptions. Anytime the game forces me to drive or fly, I will add a point to the fail meter. And I will also be playing the game on hard mode because I just love to live on the edge. I'm just edgy like that, guys. Except for you. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Our tale begins the way any great story would, with someone dead.
Hi.
After that, I make a quick trip to the diner because I have got to get some waffles before I head out crime fighting. How else is Batman supposed to fuel his rage? After all that's said and done, now we finally get to begin the torture, challenge. Which of course starts us off on one of the tallest structures in the city. The game wants you to glide to the GCPD from here, however, that's not gonna happen. To get down from here, Batman will fall straight down, but he does do this little landing glide thing when he hits the ground. But I'm not gonna count when this happens as a fail since Batman is just a normal dude. Unlike Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad game, he can't just jump off of 40-foot buildings and land on his feet without shattering his legs into tiny little shards. So the adventure begins. Slowly.
Ride like the wind, bullseye!
After slowly walking my way over to Gordon, he asked me to go run some errands for him, after I just spent all this time making my way over to him! Look, Jim, I know I've told you that I've gotten more into walking lately, but that does not mean that I'm going to be running all around town to get your dry cleaning. So after another long and laborious walk, I beat up some thugs senselessly and then proceeded to enter my first failure of the challenge.
The city's overrun. We don't stand a chance.
Stay here. I'll send someone to pick you up.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna film.
I unfortunately am forced to chase down a bunch of random guys in my car, the first of many, I assure you, and I made sure to let them know how I felt about that.
Nothing bad ever happens to me.
So after brutalizing a man for the heinous crime of driving, I heroically jogged my way over to Scarecrow's safe house to save Ivy. And after beating the crap out of the goons in there, I snagged Ivy and the game once again forced me to use the Batmobile. Now since I was remote controlling the car during the first half of the fight, I won't count it as a fail since all Batsy was doing was standing firmly planted on the ground using the remote controller like, well, me, actually. However, since he has to drive Ivy back to the GCPD, we will have to add a fail there. After I dropped Ivy off, I got to test out my theory on whether I could just walk out of the GCPD parking garage on foot and allow the doors to open. As it turns out, I cannot. The main door Batman can run through no problem, but I cannot get through the second door without the Batmobile. I guess the developers never assumed that anyone would actually want to sprint their way through the police station parking garage, which frankly is stupid on their part. Who wouldn't want to do that? But it looks like I'm going to have to add a fail to the meter every single time I come back here. Awesome. Well, at least I don't have to do it every 5 minutes. Oh wait. So Batman headed over to the clock tower to hang out with Barbara. Since this challenge was already a colossal failure before it even began, he and I decided that it was better to just call it quits and chill out for the night. Scarecrow can have the city for all I care. It's my night off. Sadly though, since Barbara's a party pooper with Bat Satellite TV, she made me go fix the connection, thus causing me to fail my challenge again! Dang it, Barbara, I'm rich! Can't we just hire someone to fix the satellite? So after failing my challenge once again, I bravely sprinted my way over to Falcone's shipping yard and beat up some more thugs to make myself feel better. Since this is a tutorial section, the game does try to get Batman to glide attack the enemies from the vantage point, but since grappling does not count as a fail, I will not be walking out of this encounter with another failure added to my challenge. So that's good, I guess. Then Bruce tried to play catch the Batarang with his dad, but made one fatal error. He forgot that his dad is dead, and just ended up throwing the Batarang away, never to be seen from again.
My parents!
Now that we're at Ace Chemicals, we have run into a bit of a problem area. I am able to attack all the goons lounging around with no issue, but to save the workers, Batman does have to bring in his car like a dozen times. He also has to keep getting in and out of the car to do puzzles.
Wow, you drive a tank?
Then he has to use the car as an elevator. Then he has to use the car to fight a helicopter. Then he has to bring the car downstairs. And then later he has to take the car out of the building. All in all, there's just a lot of car stuff going on here, and it is very annoying for my purposes. So let's just add one giant fail to Ace Chemicals and call it a day. At least I could take out the enemies in the Scarecrow fight without the Batmobile, mostly because Batman couldn't get in here. Heaven knows he would if he could. Then I caught up with Scarecrow and was about to arrest him when... Oh, hang on.
You're seeing another villain already? I thought we had something special.
Oh no. Joker, I can explain! Since Joker did not like the fact that I was cheating on him with another villain, he decided to haunt me from the grave.
Oh, Bats, I've missed you. All the subtlety and nuance of a napalm enema.
Now here's where we run into a major problem. After we get out of Ace Chemicals, the Arkham Knight releases his homemade tanks on the city, meaning that navigating around on foot just become infinitely more difficult. One way that I could solve this little conundrum is by grappling to the rooftops whenever the tanks saw me. Sure, getting back down when I did that did take a while since I had to dodge and weave around them, but it's better than getting shot in the face. On average though, I did always try and run from the enemies on ground level, like I'm a common pleb. Once I got back to the GCPD, I was forced to enter my car so I could head down 2 flights of stairs. Then I ran to Jim, and I tried talking to him about my issues using the car, but he was not at all interested. Instead, he made me chaperone him while he went out for his daily nighttime drive. He really has no respect for me in this relationship. So after failing my challenge for about 10 minutes straight, we reached the clock tower, where I had to epically sneak attack the enemies outside like a pro. After that was all said and done, Jim came upstairs to ask me to run more errands for him, but at that point of the night, I had had just about enough of him and his nonsense. So I told him that I was not his errand boy, and if he needed groceries, he could just march his butt over to the store and buy it himself. And Jim did not appreciate that. Oh yeah, walk away like you always do. Conflict resolution? Never heard of it. So after Jim and I broke up, Batman decided that the best thing to do to make himself feel better was go for a leisurely drive.
Are you out of your mind?
I love it when I fail my challenge over and over. After one very long driving section, I ran into one of the greatest things I could have possibly seen during this challenge. A gate.
I'll proceed on foot and take over their access point.
Finally, I could get back to my cardio workout. So I speed stealth my way through the Grand Avenue station fight like a boss. Unfortunately, now the bridges have been raised, unlike my spirits, which are plummeting every time I think about the car. And it only gets worse.
Shocked, Dark Knight? Stunned? You didn't expect this, did you?
I'm gonna wring this nerd's neck.
So my journey continues as I jog my way across town to go hang out with Ed and Selena. Man, can't I just get an Uber or something? It shouldn't count if someone else is driving the car. You, sir! I did have to dodge and weave my way around like a zillion tanks though, and that made things a lot harder than they needed to be.
Tonight, folks, we've got riddles galore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
After I was done beating up some robots that Eddie had concocted for me, I bailed on him and Catwoman because I am not solving your riddles this time, punk. I've had to use the car way too much already. Speaking of the car, I had to speedily hobble my way back over to it like an elderly grandma on her way to bingo night. Is it cruel and unusual that I had to walk my way all the way across town just so I could fail my challenge again? Yes. The answer is yes. So after some more driving and a bit of crying uncontrollably on my end, we found Barbara. Car crash.
The car veered off an empty road. Why? Looks like the driver wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
Interesting time for a PSA, Batman, but I gotta respect it. But to be fair, the people of Gotham really do not respect safe driving, so it's kind of understandable.
Motorist safety.
After spreading his important safety message to the children, Batman got a little lonely and decided to go take a trip up to visit Lucius at Wayne Tower. All the way up there. Man, I hate Leg Day. After chilling with Lucius for a while, I headed back on the town to have some fun. But the only thing I will be having tonight is failure. So I walked my way all the way across town, again. Jeez, it's like the 8th time tonight. Batman was then met with about 60 more tanks he needs to fight, which of course requires the Batmobile. Thank you very much, whoever at Rocksteady thought that this was a good idea. So after taking out some tanks, I did some gymnastics through the sewer, fought some baddies, and failed my challenge again. Cause of course, it's not a Batman game without endless car chases. Oh wait, no it's not, cause this isn't Speed Racer! Now get out of the Batcar!
Your new Batmobile upgrade is ready to deploy. The Batwing is en route to Grand Avenue.
No. No! I am truly devastated. So while Batman was taking a break from being a pain in the butt, he met up with Dick, who sent him out on a tracking mission following these dorks in a van. So I just ran straight at all the enemies at the van, not showing any fear as their guns were pointed straight at me. Then I had to follow the van. Now the game wants you to glide around following these guys, but I was able to get around it with just running on the rooftops. I did almost lose them, but since I knew where they were headed anyway, it wasn't too big of a deal. Then I instantly took out all the thugs hiding outside Penguin's hideout by hiding in the floor grates like the little goblin that I am.
Yeah, we lost him. He's nothing. You see, I told you. He couldn't even keep up with you two in a crappy little truck.
Hey, I'm trying all right. I'm chasing after the van on foot. Who do you think I am, the Flash?
You are not the Flash, Barry. We are.
No, you're fucking not.
Since Penguin hurt my feelings, I thoroughly beat him up and the rest of his goons. And since Joker was being needy, I blew him up just for kicks.
Plunge is a vulgar slang term for anus or vagina.
Then Batman headed outside and I let Joker get shot like a dozen times, just for kicks. Again, gotta make sure that he knows his place after all. And now we are once again forced to use the car. But since Batsy is using the remote controller to drive the car, I will not count this as a fail. I then continued on my perilous journey to Stag's airship. Since there were huge tanks and a lot of mean people with guns all over the place, I did have to grapple out of the way a bit. But since there were random sidewalks floating in the air on Founders Island for some reason, that wasn't too much of a problem. I also had to take out some militia guys, which I did super easily without being stupid at all. Now that that's all said and done, I climbed my way back down to ground level, walked over to Wayne Enterprises, and grappled my way up. And now, unfortunately, I'm forced to glide. As far as I can tell, there's really no way to get over here without gliding. It simply just cannot be done.
Why not? Why not?
There's not really much to talk about with the airship section since I'm not really gliding anywhere in here, and though it may hurt his tender heart, Batman is not able to bring the car up here. Of course, Batman does have to glide kick his way onto the other airship, but I am not going to count this as a fail since it's basically a cutscene, and I'm not really controlling him while he's soaring through the air like a majestic swan. So I found Scarecrow and I was ready to take him down, but it turns out it was actually just Joker in cosplay the whole time.
I thought I was Batman's psychotic obsession.
Anyway, after I was done with all that nonsense, Scarecrow gave me a call and told me that he wanted to throw me a party to congratulate me on all my hard work. But the only thing he didn't tell me is that this party was a funeral. Of course, before that, poor Batman had to get down from the blimp, so he decided to follow Barbara's lead and take the easy way out. Goodbye, cruel world.
Wow!
So I headed back to the GCPD because Batman is addicted to failure. And then we picked up Ivy and hit the streets with my car. After all that driving around, I was getting kinda sick of failing my challenge over and over, so I headed to the movie studio to go catch a flick. Instead, I found Robin there being the whiny little baby that he is. Since Tim is about 4 years old and clearly not old enough to drive yet, he forced me to head out to the store to go get some popcorn before watching the movie. Personally, I think that the theater should be supplying that, but what do I know? What's worse is that Batman had to tackle the delivery drone because it had become self-aware and realized that popcorn was too good for us measly humans. Everyone warned us about the robot apocalypse, but we didn't listen. And now look, no more popcorn! Fortunately, I was able to jump on the drone and take it out without gliding, which I was genuinely surprised about. Suck it, Tim. So after taking a needlessly long amount of time to disable a few watchtowers that for some reason had to be located on Mount Olympus, I had to use the remote control on the car to take out some tanks, and then the Arkham Knight popped up and just as easily popped out. So I beat up his goons, fiddled with my toy car some more, and then casually strolled my way back to the clock tower. Of course, while Batman was trying to enjoy his coffee break, it was naturally interrupted with good old Harley. Typical. Of course, she is beating up Tim right now, so maybe she isn't all that bad.
Alfred, I need to get to the movie studios.
Please be quick, sir. Miss Quinn is clearly volatile. Robin may be in serious danger.
You got it! Okay, I'm here.
Open.
Voice print failure. Access denied.
The password is Jingle Bells Batman Smells 1939.
After Harley sicked her goons on me, I huddled in one area and lured more and more enemies into my space and then broke their necks. Easy peasy. Why they just kept coming into my area, I do not know. Then I headed downstairs to beat up beat up the thugs, of course, and the search for the Joker clones began. So after Lady Joker was done thirsting after Batman, Robin and I beat up all her goons, with Robin only embarrassing me a little. So as punishment, I made Tim carry her back to her cell. Now there's not really much to talk about with the fight against Boxer Joker since I don't have to glide here. Just run. Just run in terror. Then I waltzed my way into the musical number with Charisma.
Bad guy song!
Actually, it's kind of funny. When I was going to grab Charisma, I accidentally banged into him and triggered a game over screen that I have never seen before.
Dying time, fellas!
So now that I have all the Joker clones, I punched Harley in the face and threw Robin in a prison cell because he's the worst.
You son of a bitch! Shut up!
And since Tim insulted my genius, I decided to tell him that Barbara was dead just to watch him cry. Yeah, that's the stuff. So I hopped into my car, failed my challenge once again, and headed over to say hi to Ivy. Unfortunately, my conversation with her ended the same way all my interactions with people go, with a nuclear bomb going off in the background. I am not running through that. The game left me no choice. I was forced to glide my way through town on my hunt for the accursed car. Damn you, Scarecrow! So once I finally reached my destination, I was greeted to yet another failure of the challenge by dive bombing my way straight into my car. To be fair though, I really didn't want to be running through here. The city has definitely seen better days.
What kind of place is this?
So after being forced to hop into my car for a bit, I got to fail my challenge for a very, 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 very long time. And this goes on for quite a while, so let's just get past this part. After all of that failure, Batman decided to glide his way back over to Ivy, making me fail again! At this point, Batman was feeling pretty annoyed, so he decided to go complain to Ivy. But since Ivy did not sign up to be Batman's emotional support plant, she peaced out and died from boredom. So Batman, in his search for someone else he can complain to, headed over to the GCPD looking for Gordon, and crushing my challenge into oblivion yet again. And Batman was going to yell at Gordon for designing his doors like this, but it turns out that he had been kidnapped. Oh well, I guess I'll have to beat him up later. So Batman hopped into his car and refused to get out as he pranced his way over to some random bottomless pit located in the middle of a mall. Is Gordon really worth ruining my challenge for? I don't think so. He broke up with me! The nice thing was, when I got to the mall, I was able to avoid directly using the Batmobile the whole time. I just remote controlled it whenever I needed it, even if Batman was standing directly next to the darn thing. Naturally, I had to hop back into my car afterwards, but it was certainly nice to be able to work my way around another failure. Anyway, back to usual. The only positive thing about this section is that the Arkham Knight completely obliterates Batman's car at the end of it. Thank you. Oh my gosh! You know, Knight, you're the real hero of this story. So I went up to save Jimbo from the consequences of his own actions, but then the Arkham Knight showed up and turned out to actually be Red Hood. Who could have possibly guessed? So I beat up Red Hood and all his goons and totally did not die like an idiot. I assure you that definitely didn't happen. For sure. Then Jim and I took a ride in the elevator. Then I took a ride in the elevator, and I confronted Crane, who just let Jim shoot me. That's it, Jim. I am never taking you back after this. What's worse is that the Batcar got revived from the dead and has returned to haunt my every waking nightmare.
Go back to hell where you belong!
So I dropped Barbara off at the GCPD and was forced to fail my challenge again. Wow, something new and different. So with 10,000 failures under my bat belt, I jogged my way over to the movie studio like the track star that I am, and found that Robin has been kidnapped?
Well, the joke's on you, Dad.
That kid, I swear. So then I ran my way all across town, yet again, so that I could go get Tim out of whatever problem he landed himself into this time. And I ended up fighting Joker in the streets on my way over. I'm pretty sure that this is a glitch, but I do like to imagine that Joker was alive the whole time, and his grand plan was just to wander the streets hoping to find Batman, just to get knocked out immediately. And of course, I had to surrender myself over to Scarecrow. Batman. Bruce! Tim is not worth it! Just let him die!
You are nothing. Impotent. Powerless. Afraid.
I know you are, but what am I?
But since Batsy has a far better moral compass than me, he sacrificed himself for that bald nerd. Dang it, Tim! Why don't I ever teach these brats about how to escape their captors? This is the third time now! No, Batman, stop! I escaped! Don't sacrifice yourself! You have too much to live for! So Batman hops into the van because the nice man told him that there was candy inside, and we are taken to the asylum, where I met up with Robin.
Batman, is that you?
You're grounded. So after Crane injects me with heroin, Batman begins his natural descent into drug abuse. I blame you for this, Robin! And while Batman was busy tripping balls, he somehow managed to make me fail my challenge again. So to make myself feel better, I killed all of Gotham's greatest criminals. Oh no, you are not demonetizing me, video game. And with that, the day is saved. Batman has completely lost his mind, everyone is dead. All in all, I I'd say it's been a pretty good day.
We saved the city!
And then we get to take a closer look into what Joker is truly afraid of, which honestly is a pretty valid fear. I get it. The last thing the world needs is more of that guy. Screw you, Riddler! 400 riddles! What is wrong with you? So after Batman came down from his drug trip, he gave Scarecrow a firm talking to about the dangers of drug abuse. But he did not appreciate that.
Without fear, life is meaningless.
Oh, trust me, there's one thing that I fear. So I beat up Scarecrow, dropped him off at prison, and ran off into the sunset. Or I guess sunrise. It has been a long night. In the end, I could not beat Batman Arkham Knight walking only. Obviously. Of course, I didn't think I was going to fail this much, but you know, whatever. But I think we have learned a valuable lesson today. Why bother with cardio when you could just drive a tank?